Hello and welcome back to Football for Thought. I am Tyler Dozon, and today we're going to be getting into Week 1 of the XFL and a brief little bit on the NFL regarding the free agency and coaching changes. Without further ado, let's jump straight into Episode 2. So in the NFL, we have two new coaching changes. We have Eric Bieniemy leaving the Kansas City Chiefs after their Super Bowl win to join the Washington Commanders as the assistant head coach and offensive coordinator. I think it's going to be a great call for Washington to pick him up because he's just a great coach all around. And with Washington's young team, I think he's going to do very well molding them and making them the contenders that they are. We also go towards the Eagles. They made a little change with their OC, becoming the new Cardinals head coach, and Jonathan Gannon. He is now the head coach of the Cardinals and going to be taking the reins, looking over Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins in that offense. I think it's going to be a great job for him. He already has hired new OCs and DCs, so he is getting ready to compete with the NFC West. Not much is in free agency. Derek Carr is still undecided on where he is going, as well as Aaron Rodgers still in his darkness retreat. I don't know if he ran out of ayahuasca, why he chose to do that, but we will be hearing from him soon, soonish, hopefully, on his decision to play or even go to a different team. Not much has been said on any other free agency contracts like Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley, Lamar Jackson, any big names. Nothing's really came out of them, but we're looking forward to that. Hopefully have some news for you guys next week. And now jumping right into the XFL, Week 1 is finally concluded, and it was a blast. It was great to watch these games, great to watch these teams play against each other, and let's go ahead and break them down. To open up the XFL season, we have the first game ever with the Vipers and the Guardians. This game was a great game, came down on a comeback at the very end, but let's go ahead and break this down. So, Perez throws the very first touchdown in XFL history to bat it by dancing around in the pocket and throwing that ball in the back of the end zone. Great touchdown, and it really impressed me seeing how Perez was on this first drive, being that I didn't really know who this man was. It definitely opened my eyes, and it was a great start of this game, and it continued to be a great game. So one thing I do like about the XFL is soon after that touchdown, they had a call on fourth down with the Renegades with Vaughn getting his foot inbounds, but the ref said no, he didn't. So with that, the command center was like, hold up, let's take a look at this. This is very serious. It's a fourth down play. So they go to the command center and they look at it, and he rules that the foot was in bounds and overturns the calling on the field. I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed this overlooking process, should you call it, that the XFL does, and I really wish the NFL wouldn't state this because the command center was like, hey, it looked like his foot's in bounds. Even though the ref said no, they get to go and overturn it. They get to go and look. And it took about 3 to 4 minutes, but it was worth it in the end because they did end up getting that first down. And I like that because it's not just on, the refs on the field aren't the only ones with say. They also have the coaches who can challenge it as well as the command center who can challenge it themselves. And I thought that was a really cool thing to see, especially in the first game of the XFL. After we see this get reviewed and it is overturned, we continue on with the game. The Vipers actually end up creating another turnover by forcing a fumble and getting the ball back. Once again scoring with a bomb down the field from Perez. Once again to bat it. They seem like a very deadly duo, and they're very interesting to watch. The Vipers continue just to keep striking and dominating by not letting the Renegades score but a field goal and getting an interception right before the half to go ahead and get it, or attempt the field goal of their own, which they do miss. So now we go into halftime. Vipers up 14-3. It just looks like, a blowout right now that the Vipers are going to keep capitalizing on. We go into the second half expecting this, and we do get it. Right in the, halfway through the third quarter, the Vipers go ahead and create a fumble, giving them back the ball. DJ Calhoun gets it, and just the Vipers momentum is all on their side. Renegades are down in the dumps right now. But the Vipers struck too quick, and the Renegades come back in an exhilarating fashion. Now on the very next drive with this fumble recovery, the Vipers go ahead and go to pass, and the Renegades pick them off into a pick six in the end zone to Tomasiole, I believe that's how you pronounce his name. Either way, the Renegades finally score with this defensive touchdown, and the momentum just keeps on rolling. In the next drive, the Vipers get the ball, they go to run it, fumble recovered by the Renegades, and automatically gives them more points on the board. It's just a field goal, but I'm still getting points on the board for the Renegades. The second game up on opening day was the Guardians versus the Roughnecks. This game started off great. The Guardians with Paxton Lynch go ahead and capitalizing to a crazy catch by Lattimore in the end zone that should have been intercepted, should have maybe not. Who knows? But with the Houston Roughnecks closing out the first quarter with a touchdown to Josh Ray Kirkland. It was a good game in this first quarter, both teams going back to back. And unlike the first game, it actually seemed like they established running game. Both the teams in the first game couldn't seem to run the ball at all, and it was just passing nonstop. That's what led to multiple picks. But this game got very interesting, and Houston took control early, just showing them that they are still that team that they were in 2020 when they were undefeated. And here they go, Houston in the second quarter, getting another touchdown. This one to Burnett, while getting his left arm held behind his body, goes up with his right, grabs it in for the touchdown. Touchdown Roughnecks. They then go up another score, and then, fast forward to Borghi. This man has some speed. This running back, I've never heard of in my life. This man can run. He goes and gets a touchdown for the Roughnecks, adding on once again, making it a 3-score game. Houston ends the first half of this game up 21-6. Their defense just not letting the Guardians do a single thing. I don't know. Just from looking at this first half, it shows that these Roughnecks came to play. But we now going in the second half, and finally a spark for the Guardians. They go and pick off Brandon Silvers, finally giving them good field position and some momentum on their side for once in the entire game. Well, apparently that momentum wasn't enough because the Guardians go ahead and get sacked, making it the Houston's 5th sack of the day midway through the third quarter. But the Guardians go ahead and get their own sack, and they just keep going back and forth until Houston's Brandon Silvers throws another pick to the Guardians, giving them great field position. But on the very next play, Paxton Lynch throws a pick 6 to the Guardians, but there was a flag negating them of that touchdown. So to open up the fourth quarter, the Roughnecks go ahead and kick a field goal. 3 more points added to their scoreboard. But the Guardians answer back. Orlando finally said, you know what, let's go ahead and score a touchdown. Throw a bomb to Jamil, 51-yard touchdown. But it wasn't enough, sadly. The momentum still wasn't there. And the Roughnecks finally, to close out the game, kicked their last field goal, adding on 3 more points, winning 33-12. Roughnecks, just lopsided victory. They looked very dominant on offense and defense. The Guardians just didn't look ready to play. Don't know if that's coaching, don't know if it's players, but if you think about it, these guys only had so long to practice in training camp. They just didn't get it done. They just didn't perform well. We move on to Game 3. Game 3 is St. Louis Battlehawks versus the San Antonio Brahmas, and my preseason poll prediction was the Roughnecks to be in the championship as well as the St. Louis Battlehawks. So not only was I excited for that last game, but excited for this game coming up. And also, it's Dwayne Johnson's team. San Antonio Brahmas, he said he can't be biased, but that's his team, So I was looking forward to it, and I thought it was going to be a great game, but it was just a really defensive struggle for both teams. Not a single offense can go. Really, the Battlehawks were battling themselves for most of the game before they could get any score, any points on the board. It was just 3-3 going through most of the game. Now, of course, there were some great scores on offense and defense in this game, but there was not a single score until the fourth quarter. It was actually 6-3, San Antonio up. And then in the fourth quarter, Jack Cohn of San Antonio Brahmas throws a back shoulder fade for the first touchdown of the game with 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And this is when the game gets interesting. Finally, both these teams, woke up and they got the feel for the game, and then stuff started to get real. San Antonio scores. Now they are up 12-3, and now Battlehawks have to answer back. But the Battlehawks did not answer back as quickly as they wanted to. The Brahmas go ahead and kick another 3, making it 15-3. Now we're in about 2 minutes of this game. San Antonio is up 15-3, and St. Louis hasn't scored a single touchdown. But A.J. McCarron steps it up. He throws a bomb to the sideline to set them up to set them up on the field to score. So they go ahead and score a touchdown and then go for the first ever 3-point conversion and make it, now being 15-12 with 1:30 left in the game. Battlehawks right after that also for the first team this year to go for 4th and 15 instead of doing an onside kick. This is where if you convert this, you automatically get that ball. Just like normal rules, if you convert the 4th and 15, you get it at the first down marker instead of risking an onside kick. And what does A.J. McCarron do? He sits back, he runs, he scrambles out of the pocket, dances around, and throws a dart for a first down, leading it to another touchdown. So now St. Louis is up 18-15 with literally 18 seconds left in the game. That's why I love the XFL, because of this 3-point option, conversion option, because of these 4th and 15 rules. They are literally down 15-3 with 2 minutes left in the game and came back and won 18-15 because of these opportunities. A.J. McCarron was emotional. This was his first win in a while, and he should still even be in the NFL. It was just a great game all around. San Antonio's defense looked amazing until this last bit, and the Battlehawks let me down until this last bit. I thought it was a great game. And also in the beginning of this game, Dwayne Johnson and Danny Garcia announced that the championship will be held at San Antonio. So that was also something that was very interesting to learn. All around, this was a great game. It was a nail-biter to the very end. Showed why the XFL is great and why I love these rules that specifically the XFL has that the NFL doesn't. It made a great finish. And we finally go to the last game of this opening kickoff weekend with the Sea Dragons and Defenders. First off, I want to say the Seattle Sea Dragons to me have the best uniforms, best helmet combination. Loved how it looks. But let's go ahead and get into the game. At the start of this game, it shows down at the bottom left the percentages of kickoffs taken back in the XFL compared to the NFL, with the XFL being 92%. You guys probably, if you guys saw the XFL, noticed that the kickoff teams are 5 yards apart compared to the normal NFL when they're a good bit away. It's to reduce concussions, reduce people hurting each other on kickoffs, and also make it more entertaining by there being kickoffs returned. And I love that in the XFL. It's one thing I wanted to add on that I thought was really cool that they put in the intro to this game as well. But we started off with Ben DiNucci and the Sea Dragons. First of all, Ben DiNucci literally was just in the NFL, so he isn't as rusty as most of these players. He comes in showing that. He comes in just firing on all cylinders, doing great, and then they end up scoring on their first drive with Ben DiNucci doing his best Patrick Mahomes impression, running out of bounds and flicking it over to Josh Gordon for the first Sea Dragon touchdown. They end up going for it on going for a 3-point conversion, just like the Battlehawks, but unlike them, he ends up not getting it and getting sacked, leading to the Defenders' first drive. Now, I was talking about Seattle's quarterback and Ben DiNucci, but we look on the other side of the field to the Defenders, and they got Jordan Ta'amu, which that name might be familiar from the XFL already. In 2020, he was the leader of the St. Louis Battlehawks and ended up getting into the NFL from how well he did. So I was very excited and looking forward to seeing his premiere on the DC Defenders. They don't get anything done on the first drive, that's fine. The Sea Dragons answered back with a field goal, making it 9-0. But Jordan Ta'amu takes the Defenders right before half, pushes them down the field, and runs in himself to get a touchdown and converts the 2-point conversion. It is now 8-9, Sea Dragons up at the half. So far, this game is looking good. 2 evenly matched teams, and I'm very excited. I did forget to mention that the Defenders had the number 1 pick, getting Smith, the running back, and he just looks phenomenal in this game and continues to show it throughout the game. So the first half is over, and like I mentioned, things started to get interesting. It seemed like both teams started to wake up on offense and defense, and the Sea Dragons make the first punch by scoring with their running back, Brendan Knox, showing he's also great at what he does. He lowers the shoulder, lays the boom, and goes in for a 21-yard touchdown. Once again, the Sea Dragons go for a 3-point conversion and actually convert it again with Ben DiNucci scrambling in for the touchdown. We flip the script. We go to the Defenders, and finally their defense wakes up. Greg Williams, the great mind he is, their defense gets a pick 6 on Ben DiNucci in the 5-yard line, gets the touchdown, and now the game is very, very close. The 2-point conversion with D'Eriq King has a spot in my heart for the Madden franchise. I did. He goes and converts it by running straight forward and getting the 2-point conversion himself. So now it's a super close game going into the fourth quarter. The very first play of the fourth quarter, Ben DiNucci throws a pick to Michael Joseph once again, him getting his 2nd pick of the day. And all the momentum is now on the DC Defenders side. They go ahead and score with D'Eriq King. Once again, him getting in the end zone twice today. One was a conversion, one was a touchdown. And DC is now up 22-18. And then it gets into some questionable stuff. The Sea Dragons start doing phenomenal. Ben DiNucci making great plays, running back going off. But the Sea Dragons uses their timeouts before I think they should have. They didn't wait for the 2 minutes warning. They just used all 3 of their timeouts. And sadly, that cost them late in the game, very, very late in the game with 30 seconds left. Ben DiNucci and those Sea Dragons get down into the 10-yard line, doing some red zone defense, or red zone offense, I apologize. And Greg Williams' defense just steps up and makes phenomenal plays, sacking Ben DiNucci on the, I think, 3-yard line with 20 seconds left in the game, and they didn't have any timeouts to stop it. So sadly, the Sea Dragons fell to the DC Defenders in game 1, which they were actually favored. That was the first game where the person that was favored to win lost. So the DC Defenders are now 1-0 and Sea Dragons 0-1. So now with week 1 to a close, what do I think? What do you think? I'm going to start off by saying I think it was great. I think the changes in the XFL as far as rules are great. I love the 1 foot in bounds, keeps player safety. The kickoff, I also think great for safety, but also explosive plays. The replay, the command center, I think that is a wonderful addition. And I just think, all these extra rules are different from the NFL. I think they're great, and I hope the NFL does adapt into these once they see they start doing good. All the games were great. The only lopsided one was Houston Roughnecks with the Guardians. So I don't know if that just shows how good the Houston Roughnecks are or how bad the Guardians are, So we will see later on in the future. But I'm still, I think, going to stick with my preseason poll and say the Roughnecks in the South Division and the Battlehawks in the North. We will see how it goes. But I do think I want to look out for the Vegas Vipers. Rod Woodson and that team, they surprised me. They looked very, very good. The Renegades kind of came back in the end, but I think the Vipers are a great team from what they were showing. They were clicking on all cylinders, offense and defense, and I think that Perez can lead them to the championship over the Battlehawks if the Battlehawks can't figure what they did out in the end. But this is just week 1. The rust is finally going to be knocked off, and I think week 2 is going to be a lot better. It's really going to show what each team does and what each team is. I am very, very excited for the XFL to continue and keep on going. There hasn't been a thing. I've been looking for viewership. I haven't seen how many people tuned in, but I know it has gotten great feedback already, and I'm very excited for this. Dwayne and Danny knew what they were doing. They held off for a good amount of time, and really they are doing this perfectly. I can't see it any other way. I think it's a great league so far. I did want to mention, if you guys were interested in the XFL and learning more about it, they do on ESPN Plus, also I believe on ESPN on Thursdays, have a show. It's called Player 54 Chasing the XFL Dream. I like to describe it as like a mini Hard Knocks, kind of. Instead of you learning about one team, though, you learn about the entire XFL. And I think it's great to watch. I watched the first episode, and it breaks down basically Danny's decision to go ahead and call Dwayne Johnson up and say, let's buy this. It shows basically, it's saying that this is really a second chance for people that couldn't make that 53-man roster, and they're all player 54. That's where that came from. And I love that saying. It's a great saying, I really do. Because are a lot of great athletes, a lot of great talents that can't make that 53-man roster, but still deserve to have eyes on them and deserve a second shot at something that, that was their life's dream. So if you guys want to go ahead and check that out, it will inform you more on the XFL, and also it was a great watch. I really enjoyed watching it and learning more about the XFL as well as the people that founded it and the people that are in it. All right, guys. Well, I think that, caps off this second episode of Football for Thought. If you guys let me know, if you guys watched the XFL opening weekend, what you guys thought. I think it was great, and I would like to hear your opinion as well, or even things that you don't think are great that you think they could work on. Let me know who y'all's favorite team is, favorite unis, everything like that. But for now, I think we're going to go ahead and close it. I am Tyler Dozat, and until next time, I'll catch you in the end zone.